I've been looking forward to this all day. Can't wait to get into it with Stephen Conroy, who has been freshly checking the talking points. The Treasurer's voice is represented here because he's just here to help. The former Victorian Liberal Party president and our dear friend, the dapper Michael Kroger. And she's out of her job of chairing the Senate this evening. So she's with us in the Canberra man cave-ish, the wonderful Holly Hughes, of course, from the Liberal Party representing New South Wales. So, nothing happened today, yet we're supposedly being told that best case scenario, we get to somewhere between 2 and 3% inflation, maybe in 2025, probably in 2026. But even then, Stephen, we'll still be paying 75% higher interest rates than we were before we took this journey. Geez, isn't everything working out?
Well, look, I mean, as you know, Paul, I've consistently said that the Reserve Bank has got its modelling and its assumptions that underpin its modelling badly wrong for the last couple of years, and nothing's changed today. I mean, this is an emperor who has no clothes, and it doesn't matter whether it's Rob Lowe or Michelle Bullock. They're cut from the same cloth. They both believe their own modelling. They both refuse to ignore the real, take any notice of the real world, and they've got flawed assumptions in their modelling. So she can release 140 pages trying to justify the mistakes they've made over the last 12 months, and it will make no difference in the real world. They've been wrong on their underpinning assumptions over the last 12 months, and they're wrong again today. They should be getting ready to cut rates very soon after the completely moronic rate rise that they engaged in October. I mean, every time the real world statistics turn up, they humiliate the economists at the Reserve Bank, but they just don't want to learn their lesson. They think their audience is the 12 market economists and the banks and the financial institutions, and the rest of Australians, including Middle Australia, can go he.
Well, given their penchant for finding people from the former Labor government, well, obviously you're on your way to the next Reserve Bank governorship. They'll always find a way for a Labor mate. So we'll see what happens there. Breaking news, you saw it here, the man who's here to help.
That's unkind.
Oh, sorry, Craig Emerson.
It's unkind to Michelle Bullock.
Yeah. Well, okay, all right. But then let's talk here about Michelle Bullock. And again, this one of the reforms of the Reserve Bank is putting her out in front of the press after they make a decision, basically to turn them into the human pinata whenever they go up, or to turn them into somebody who gets yelled at until they start to drop. And surprise, surprise, because they don't want to lock in what they're going to do 30 days, 60 or 90 days from now, you get this rubbish, which is everything.
We haven't ruled anything out and we haven't ruled anything in. So I would say we have maintained the option that it might be that there has to be more rate rise, but there might not be either.
But again, Michael, surprise, surprise, the media desperate to find, the pack-a-whacker to get the PM back into the form he was in 2022. Again, going to suggest that any drop in interest rates is going to be politically advantageous. But when financially, I've just laid out what the predictions are into the future, and we know that they aren't that fantastic. Remember, we were told we wouldn't be seeing interest rate rises till, 24? Now we're being told that the best case scenario for down in 26 is still 3/4 of where we are now.
I like the fact that the previous governor, according to Stephen, was Rob Lowe. I'm in favour of that.
I like that too.
Oh, Philip Lowe.
Phil Lowe, sorry.
It's a Freudian West Wing slip. You know, we know the West Wing's a democratic fantasy.
The truth is, mate, the truth is, unless he's a former Labor politician or a former ACTU official, they can't even remember their names. They're just part of the milieu of life walking down Collins Street. Now, mate, here's the thing, and the governor was very specific today. Nothing can be ruled and nothing can be ruled out, and it may rise, it may not rise, it may go down, it may not go down. So she was very clear.
Oh, absolutely.
But look, one thing, the only thing you can say with certainty is this: the Reserve Bank cannot possibly afford to put interest rates down, get it wrong, and then have to raise them again.
Correct.
So I think for certainty, she and the board are going to have to wait longer than you might think before they reduce rates. I would doubt there'll be a rate cut before, if there is one in this year, before August. The market's speculating about 50-50 in June. They cannot get this wrong. It would be a disaster for Bullock, the Reserve and the government to go from 4.35 down to 4.1 and then 4 or 5 months later say, whoop, inflation's out of control again, so we're going to have to raise them again. That would make a fool of her and the Reserve Bank. The government would be furious. The public would be furious. She'd be rained on from a great height for having jumped too early. So they're going to wait longer than the market thinks. And my guess is, play this back in August, the first rate cut will not be before August if there is one.
See, classy, right? The classy way is to say
hope.
that you get rained on from height, right? The unclassy version is the one I was thinking. I was going, is he going to say that? No, he didn't say that because he's a classy guy. He's a classy guy. And a classy lady is, of course, Holly Hughes. So, again, we've heard plenty of people say, OK, here's the best case scenario for the Prime Minister politically, right? The tax cuts kick in July. Maybe they put back the $1,500 that they took off at the last election, sort of. So there's at the last budget. So there's a little sugar hit. Interest rates do come down by 0.25%, and then off to the election, the economy's amazing. Well, I say bring it on. I mean, if the reality is going to be that people's long-term in terms of the real world, long-term picture of interest rates is way higher than they used to be, then that's not going to be as politically advantageous as some of the smarty pants in that building may think it actually is. Because while they can spin the media and the media will cheer it on, you can't get people to vote against their own circumstances.
No, and the thing is, I was listening to you in your opening address talking about the way that alcohol and that beautiful bottle of Bundaberg that you held up, was going to be 63% tax. This is stuff that is going to affect Australians. And if you have a look at what's happening with increases to beer, increases to petrol, increases to spirits, there's no increases for Tesla owners and there's no increases for wine drinkers. So who are they pitching this at? Because these stage 3 tax cuts, the Prime Minister broke a promise on those. He said over 100 times he wasn't going to do anything to them. Then he's done some sort of Olympic backflip movement. And of course now he's apparently the saviour, confusing tax reform with cost of living relief. But anyway, that's an economics course. But we're talking about there's going to be a hit to these people's wallets that he's saying he's so keen to help long before the July 1 tax cuts will even kick in. And then you've got the average family of four's already had to find an extra $25,000 per year since this government's come to power. If you think $15 a week is going to come anywhere close to making that make a difference is just ridiculous. And the reality is for all Australians and to all your viewers, Paul, if you're feeling poorer, it's because you are. You are now substantially less well off than you were when this government came to power. $8,000 per person per year. And the best they've managed to come up with is drip feeding $800 per year, 10% back to the average worker. So this is just taking from Peter to pay Paul, trying all these smoke and mirrors to say, look how great we are, when in effect everyone is continuing to go backwards. I've
got to say, we're all students of the game. Obviously, you're participants. I'm just simply the observer. But I've got to say, the set of stones on the government to put out for spinning that in 2028 you'll be able to save $1,000 worth of petrol. On the day they were about to increase petrol to now the best part of 50 cents per litre, and the media fell for it, was an extraordinary example of the control that they have and the relationships that they have. Because I've got to say, whenever anything's off in the never, you go, OK, mate, good luck, $1,000, fair enough. But the idea that Paul, this is what they were spinning gives you an idea about the circumstances in which we're having this conversation. Go, Michael.
Mate, you've forgotten that it's not just the $1,000 you'll have saved by 2028. There's 4 years of that $275 in your power bill you'll have saved. There's another $1,100. Don't forget about that, mate. It's $2,100 in total, not $1,000. It's not, mate. Here's the other thing. That people forget about the interest rates, tax cuts, etc. Apart from you, mate, who remembers tax cut stage 1, the LEMO?
Correct.
Who remembers tax cut stage 2? You know what happens with tax cuts? People get them, and by about August, September, October, they're forgotten. Forget. They're just part of the million. They forget, and then it'll come to the election, and people are going to say, "This is the bloke that lied to me last time." You know, he lied to me last time. I'm not sure about him. That's what's going to happen. I mean, Albo can have a great day today and next month, and Jim can swan around, but people forget very quickly. No one remembers the low and middle income tax offset anymore. Forgotten. This will be forgotten too in 4 months' time.
Yeah, that said, I mean, there was plenty of people and plenty of articles about people blowing up because, hang on, what happened to the $1,500 that I got last year? And I think this will be something that will be around.
They got a tax bill, not a refund.
Something that will be coming around. I think it might be one of the surprises in the budget that will be coming up, which is potentially going to be heading it back to surplus.